Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about Disney and DeSantis and all of that. It's been covered pretty well, so I'm just going to kind of do a quick overview and get on to the rest of it. So, the state of Florida had a deal with Disney. It's had this deal for, 50 years, something like that. And basically, Disney was its own government. And it allowed Disney to control the infrastructure. That's what really matters in this when we get into it later. They could control the infrastructure. Now, everything else was kind of the same. It was kind of like a little sub-county, for lack of a better term. But it's the control of the infrastructure that matters and being able to do things their way. This deal's been in place a very, very long time, and the state of Florida, because DeSantis asked for it, just yanked it. Doesn't exist anymore. It's going to go away. They put a date far into the future after, the election, of course. So when the negative outcomes from this arise, well, they'll already have secured re-election. But this has already passed. Now, I'm sure that most of the coverage has talked about the bonds, the money that is now going to end up being owed by the residents in the area surrounding Disney, and all of the possibilities that go along with this. But one take is that, well, Disney's really invested too much to leave. And we're going to talk about that. But first, before we get to that, let's talk about what everybody's wondering. What happens next? My guess, Disney takes them to court and wins. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not an expert in this kind of law, but I read through it. I'm fairly certain the state legislature can't do what it just did. So I would imagine that Disney's lawyers will take this to court, and they'll win, and everything will go back to normal. But there's one little genie that's already out of the bottle on this. But I am fairly certain that Disney can win in court. I don't know if you've ever met a Disney lawyer, but I have, and piranhas have more compassion. They're not going to let this go. Now, assuming that Disney doesn't win, the general consensus is that Disney won't leave. I think that's wrong. I think that they have to leave. Not for any political reason or to teach DeSantis in the state of Florida a lesson or anything like that. I think they have to leave because they can't run Disney anymore. If you've ever been there, think about what it was like when you were driving around, when you were in the area around Disney. Do you see any buildings that had fallen into disuse, disrepair? Stickers on lampposts or park benches, graffiti, potholes, busted trees by the side of the road, anything. All right. Everything was perfect. That's what makes it the most magical place on earth. That's the brand. If Disney can't control the infrastructure, it can't run Disney World. The surrounding areas, the areas that will end up taking these responsibilities over, they're not going to be able to do it to Disney standards because they're not going to have the money. There was a reason it was set up this way. I don't think that Disney can stay, even if it wants to. It's going to take a huge loss by moving. But if it doesn't go somewhere where it can control the infrastructure, it'll take a bigger loss with the damage to the brand. Because Disney won't be Disney anymore. And it's sad because that is going to economically devastate that whole side of the state. It's going to be a huge deal if Disney has to leave. I'm sure they don't want to, that they don't want to give up the investments. We're talking about billions here. But I don't think they're going to have a choice if they can't control the infrastructure. Maybe they could work out some deal with the county. But I don't know. I'm fairly certain if this doesn't get put back to normal, they're going to have to leave. May not be immediate, but they're going to be looking for somewhere else to go. Because they can't have Disney without being able to make it that idyllic place that people want to escape to. That's the whole point of it. That's what they sell there. Now, there's one other thing that happened. Even though I do believe Disney's going to just take it to court and win, and this is going to kind of all be for nothing, a signal went out to corporate America. And it says, do not invest in Florida. Do not come to Florida. Don't make a deal with the state. Don't develop here. Don't put any big projects here. Because it doesn't matter how long you've been here, how many jobs sprang up because of your little business, how many billions of dollars you invested into infrastructure, how many billions of dollars you contributed to the economy of the state. Doesn't matter. It can all be taken away. That's the message that just went out. This, regardless of how it gets resolved, will damage Florida's economy for decades to come. And that's already happened. The genie is out of the bottle. It is not going back in. These companies, when they're putting together large projects, the kinds that, alter the economy of the state they're putting them in, they think this stuff out decades ahead. If they can't plan decades ahead because the PR people might say something that offends the governor, they just can't build there. The current administration in Florida, it damaged Florida a lot today. And it is damage that can't be undone, regardless of what happens with Disney. It is damage that is going to last a long, long time. No company is going to come to Florida and invest billions when it can all be snatched away, when no deal with the state matters, even if it's been in place for like half a century. That's the message that went out to the corporate world today. And a lot of people think that Florida is kind of immune to all of this, that we don't need to worry about it because of the tourist dollars. Understand, the tourists come here for the attractions. The attractions that require deals with the local and state government. Deals that now everybody's going to wonder if they're worth anything. Nobody moves. Nobody comes down here to visit to see Florida before it was improved. The area that is around Disney, I believe it actually used to be called Mosquito County. Without the investments, without the continued revenues from the economic activity, those places they are not going to be the cities and towns that you know. And that message went out loud and clear across the country. It was publicized at every turn. Because even if Disney wins, that doesn't mean the next company will. A company that doesn't have the resources to fight in court like Disney does, they can't take that risk. This was a horrible move. Setting aside the reasoning, which I find horrible, I'm just talking about this move in particular at any point in time for any reason. The way it was done, all it did was damage the state, damage the pockets of the people who live here. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.